This is the Jingle Bell block. 8 years ago, I was aiming to make a geometrical toy ball that represented all the geometry that an atom can make. Why? Multiple reasons. For one, I thought it was possible to simplify chemistry to a toy ball that was a bit more user-friendly than the ball and stick model. And if it was possible, and I made it, then chemistry would reach a wider audience. Because chemistry can be kind of scary and confusing, and I wanted to show that it ain't so scary. My goal was, if I could make this toy ball and make a DNA double helix from it, then I know it's real. And this is what I came up with so far. I made the atomic pixel 1 or 2 years ago, which is a 3-dimensional semi-rigid grid that kind of looks like a disco ball, where bonds could be represented with flat surface-to-surface contact.
Oh, Martha, I must be with you. But science says we shouldn't be touching. Science be damned.
That was a cool idea, I think, but it wasn't a functioning toy. The geometry was there, but I didn't have a mechanism for the bonds to be made. Then one day it just hit me to try and give it the same bonding mechanism as Legos, and voila, this is what I got. I designed a toy ball around the atomic pixel with Lego parts, and the Jingle Bell block was born. The Jingle Bell block is a Lego compatible block that can make molecules. I would call it the Atomic Lego, but I think Lego, the company, will get mad at me. But maybe somewhere down the road they can make their own polished version of this and call that the Atomic Lego. For now, I call this the Jingle Bell block, because the buttons and holes along the X and Y planes kinda look like a jingle bell. The Jingle Bell block is made up of 3 parts. A bottom hemisphere, which has a hole at its pole, sliding buttons on opposing sides of the pole that starts 30 degrees away and extends for another 30 degrees, as well as grooves that hold buttons starting 30 degrees away from the pole and extending for another 30 degrees. I wanted some mechanism or some receiver that could take in a button as like a slider all along the 30-degree path, so it can have more versatility. But anything I made was either too loose or too brittle, so it's beyond my abilities. But maybe future models can figure that part out or just find a way around it completely. The second part is the top hemisphere, which has a button at its pole, sliders that can hold a button on neighboring sides of the pole, that again starts 30 degrees away from the pole, extends for 30 degrees, and grooves that hold buttons on neighboring sides and start 30 degrees away and extend for 30 degrees. This design allows for a full 180 degrees of possible bond angles. The third part of the Jingle Bell block is the ring at its equator, which is this guy. It's made up of 12 buttons or holes, each 30 degrees apart, in a almost alternating pattern. It's the same pattern as white keys and black keys on piano. It's like this is D, and this goes up to G sharp. Like, you can kind of see it. The reason for this slightly awkward design is that if it was just alternating every other one, buttonhole, 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 then that would cause jams when making some compounds, like, for example, an epoxide, which is a 3-membered ring, 60 degrees apart. If it was alternating ring, you couldn't do it. It would jam up. The ring is necessary for more complicated compounds, like fullerene, which is 60 carbons bonded together in the shape of a soccer ball. I made this other Lego block specifically for hydrogen. Originally I thought hydrogens are kind of just along for the ride, and I could use a red brick just to symbolize, like, okay, you know, there's a hydrogen there. Or maybe even a stud. But this one is designed the way it is so that it can make hydrogen bonds be actual connections. It can connect one Jingle Bell block to another. This is important because all the center of a DNA double helix is held together solely by hydrogen bonds. So this little block is half the diameter of a Jingle Bell block and has alternating buttons and holes. And by that I mean these opposite sides have button, 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 hole, and hole, hole, which gives enough variability to attach to whatever it's across from. So hydrogen bonds of the base pairs, well, they're actual Lego connections. I keep saying Lego. Should I not? When trying to make the backbone of DNA, my prototype, because this is a prototype, it's just a proof of concept. It's a little too flimsy. It's not exactly structurally sound. So I made a modified version of it that is just the key points and one solid piece that can actually bear weight for the sake of making this DNA double helix. A quick word about the structure of DNA. It is composed of base pairs that spiral around one another, and it completes a lap every 10 steps. Typically, I should say, because the single bonds in the backbone the single bonds in the backbone allow for a lot of flexibility. So, but typically, it's every 10 steps it completes a lap. Why 10 steps? I couldn't tell you. I was told Watson and Crick saw Franklin's picture and said, yep, that's 10. And I didn't argue. I think maybe the pentagon of the pentose sugar in the backbone could mimic how 10 pentagons lined in a circle make a decagon, since geometry is stability and atoms want to be stable. They want to get into shape. DNA has a major groove and a minor groove. This is caused by the base pairs forming a rectangle that is held on the corners closer on one end than the other. And as this rectangle spirals upward, it creates one groove smaller than the other. It's wanting to lean over on the side with the minor groove. So I have a stick here, leverage to keep it up